Hi there. St. Patrick's Day is here once again, where everyone gets to pretend they're Irish and chow down on corned beef and cabbage. And I certainly don't have a problem with that, because any excuse to make corned beef is a good one. I love making homemade corned beef because it's so easy, and when I first made it a few years ago, it was so much better than the stuff you get at the store. However, there really is nothing wrong with using store-bought corned beef, and it tastes good. But why settle for bland, boiled corned beef and cabbage when it's really very easy and not expensive to kick up your corned beef a notch and make it something truly special? All you have to do is use your own spices, even with store-bought corned beef, and you'll be able to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with a dish that is truly special. Making your own homemade corned beef brisket is as easy as brining your Thanksgiving turkey. And actually, it's even easier because you can fit the corned beef in the back of the refrigerator. All you have to do is mix traditional spices together in a saltwater brine, let the brisket sit in the fridge for 2 weeks, and you have corned beef ready for cooking. None of these spices are hard to find or very expensive, though for some, such as juniper berries or cardamom pods, you may have to go to an ethnic or foreign supermarket. And this is a good thing because it's an excuse to go out of your way and try something new. And if you really want to bring out the flavor in your spices, use a cast iron skillet and toast the spices over low heat for about 10 minutes. The aroma of the toasting spices is unbelievable, and you really don't want to miss this. When the spices begin to snap, crackle, and pop, they're ready to be used. Set about a third of the spices aside and keep them in the refrigerator because we'll be using these to cook the corned beef in 2 weeks. And now to prepare the brine. We bring a pot of water to a rolling boil, and then we mix in kosher salt, brown sugar, and a preservative such as saltpeter or curing salt. The saltpeter isn't really needed since we invented modern refrigeration, but this is what gives a pink color to the corned beef. Without the curing seasoning, it will have a gray color, but it will still taste just fine, so you can leave it out if you want. Once the brine comes to a good boil, we let it cool off, and then the brine is ready to be used. The next day, we get out a large oven bag and place in our beef brisket. This is a point-cut brisket since that was less expensive than flat cut. Then, all we do is fill the bag with the brine and tie it up. Just be careful not to spill the brine all over the place. Let's just say I learned that the hard way. We squeeze most of the air out of the bag and tie it good and tight. The bowl is for safety reasons in case something happens and the bag leaks. Then it goes into the refrigerator to rest for 2 weeks. By the way, most of those recipes for homemade corned beef tell you to turn the brining bag over each day. I never do that. I just stick it in the back of the refrigerator and forget about it for 2 weeks, and it still turns out just fine. One side of the beef isn't more brined than the other, and we still have a pink color throughout the entire brisket. And now the fun begins. We preheat the oven and take out a large cast iron Dutch oven. If you're using store-bought corned beef, this recipe will work just fine and give you an exceptional corned beef and cabbage. All we do here is cut up carrots, celery, onions, and especially red potatoes into large pieces and throw them in the pot. I mean, really throw them in the pot because why not? And you don't even have to peel any of these because they're great with the skins on. Notice we're not adding the cabbage yet. That comes later. Now we take out the brisket and rinse off the brine and place it in the pot. Now this part is important. Pour a bottle of beer over the brisket and that's all the liquid we need. You don't have to cover it with water like those other recipes say, because we're going to be braising this brisket rather than boiling away the flavor. We add our spices, some extra salt and pepper, and 2 bay leaves. Then we cover the pot, and into the oven it goes. We'll be cooking this for about 6.5 hours. And now it's time to add the cabbage. We didn't add the cabbage at the beginning because we wanted to have a little chew to it and not just be so soft it turns into mash. All we do here is remove the heart from the cabbage and cut it up. Now we get to see a sneak preview of our corned beef. That's why we did not have to cover it with water. We covered the brisket with the cabbage and cooked the entire pot in the oven for another 1.5 hours. And then at last, our corned beef and cabbage will be finished. After 8 hours of slow cooking, we have a corned beef brisket that is ready to fall apart. It slices with no difficulty at all, and we won't even need a knife to eat it. Now we can serve our guests some corned beef and cabbage to be proud of. As you can see, this was very easy to make, but it did take a long time to slow cook. However, the end result is definitely worth the wait. I really suggest you try this yourself. And even if you're using store-bought corned beef, then here's some advice. Don't be satisfied with that microscopic spice packet that comes in the package. Use your own spices and feel free to experiment, and especially take the time to slow cook it rather than simply boiling it. And if you can, make your corned beef and cabbage in a cast iron pot. You'll be serving a St. Patrick's Day feast your family won't forget, and this is good enough that you probably won't want to wait until next year to make it again. And that's the best part, because any excuse to make some outstanding corned beef is a good one. Thank you for watching.